All statements and opinions expressed by guests of the Adult in the Room podcast are strictly their own and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs or opinions of the host, producers, or advertisers. All interviews are presented in their most complete possible form in the interests of free speech. No statements should be interpreted as financial, legal, or medical advice. Listener and viewer discretion are strongly advised.
It's the Adult in the Room podcast with Victoria Taft. That's me.
And welcome to the Adult in the Room podcast. How are you? Lots going on today. We'll have an update on Portland. Lucas Miles, who is the author of the new book, Pagan Threat Confronting America's Godless Uprising. And of course, that falls right in line with what we're talking about with respect to Portland. So we've got that coming up. Also, some things, loose ends that we're going to tie up from Tuesday's edition, talking with Honey Badger Mom, who's a reporter down at the ICE headquarters in Portland. So she's there. I guess I should say up, but wherever she comes up and whatever. But however, lots to talk about. And I've got a message for Portland. I do. And here's my message for them. It's not real hard. You probably already know this most of the time, but hey, Portland, your leaders are lying. That's right. Their number one job is public safety, and they're purposely biffing it. And we've seen this before. The Antifa situation in Portland in 2020, now again in 2025. And people know what's going on. They see, oh, geez, city's just like biffing this one. And I've watched this movement on the left in Portland since around 2004. On May days, the day after Thanksgiving, elf, foie gras warriors answer marches with their anti-Semites and communists, Occupy, anarchists, democratic socialists, and now an odd mix of authoritarian, communist, anarcho-terrorists who self-identify as so-called anti-fascists. But we see you for what you really are, the authoritarian, totalitarian, black bloc robed, secular Taliban that you are. And here's what I know. The police chief, Baghdad Bob Day, scoffs that it's only just one city block being taken over, only one.
There is, and it's been highlighted so many times so well, but I just want to emphasize this is one city block. City of Portland's about 145 square miles. This is one city block.
Okay, it's just one city block. Isn't that fun? But it's really now about 4 blocks. That's right. It's about 4 blocks, and they haven't handled it like they promised because they condone it. This is them handling it. And where have we heard this before? Does this sound somewhat familiar?
We're limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs.
Oh, only a handful of blocks. One block taken over by Antifa? What's the big deal, Martha? Yeah, well, guess what? When you don't handle it, it makes everyone less safe. For example, people get real upset. They're likely to confront Antifa, and who knows what could happen to them.
I'm coming back every night. I'm destroying and wrecking your... Turn it down. We, the people, need sleep.
They need peace, they need security, and the city of Portland is not giving it to them. It's not normal, it's wrong, it scares people and terrorizes them and makes them less safe, and it's not like this is a benign group or anything. Antifa has a uniform, a cannon, a handbook, membership, a goal to destroy civic life, and oaths. You have one job, and that's public safety, Portland, but you won't do it. And when one of the neighbors, like maybe that lady, sues you to enforce simple noise ordinances that every other part of Portland has to adhere to, what happened in court? You sided with Antifa. You have time, place, and manner abilities, and you have the ability to invoke the law against people threatening others and inciting violence at your disposal. And that is not protected speech. None of that is. And you side with Antifa. People can't live freely, say things freely, cover stories freely because you give these people cover and your council members give them tips on how not to get arrested. Your indulgence of this, Portland, has made everyone less safe. And those people saw you lie about this issue on the news. They saw you. And they know what's coming next because they saw it in 2020. More riots, more territory that free Americans will no longer be allowed to move safely through Antifa no-go zones. A closed school already. It went bye-bye, and businesses will follow. Actual protected First Amendment activity is being attempted by reporters, and you ignore it when they are assaulted. And the legacy media refuse to cover this stuff unless it's in the daytime and they've got security. Indeed, your Antifa, anti-First Amendment, black bloc militants make a mockery of the First Amendment. And so do you when you protect their violence. That's why the most impacted people welcome the National Guard, because you will do nothing to lift a finger for citizens of all stripes, colors, and creeds. Portland knows you're lying, and everyone else knows it too. And now, what we have here is a continuance a little bit before we talk to our book author about what happened. What has happened? Remember on Tuesday, go back and listen to that, or watch that program on Tuesday. And what happened was I talked to the woman known as Honey Badger Mom on X. And she is, Shelley Bufarish. Yeah, that's why I like Honey Badger Mom. It's easier to say. What she said was, well, there are a couple of things she said, many things she said. Among them, that Antifa is getting a resupply at the school that was closed.
And then if you looked, as that camera had turned around there, you could see down the street going towards the spaghetti factory. There was a school there on that sidewalk, and it's full now of their encampment. So they'll have several tents, tables.
Really?
Yes. And the city will take it down regularly, and it's back up in 40 minutes.
Okay, I want to set the scene for everybody. This is the same school that had to close because of all the munitions and Antifa trashing the area and scaring the kids. And what did they do? They blamed ICE for this.
They did.
And then they left, and now Antifa's taken over. Oh, that's just rich.
Yes.
Speak more on that, if you would.
It is really disgusting because the school did blame ICE, and I'm thinking, well, even if ICE wasn't using these munitions, these people are still camped out. These weirdos and creeps and homeless people are spending all night, all day there, and with different kinds of weapons. They're having barbecues at nighttime, probably even more than just the nighttime. They're drinking alcohol and getting high. Down there, there's garbage everywhere. The city cleans it up, and then it's back up again.
Do they clean it every day?
No, I think weekly. They sweep it. Everything goes away. They do allow them to pick up. They'll be like, in 4 hours, you can come to this building and pick up your things. And they have a certain amount of time to do that. But there's a storage unit right behind the school. Heated storage unit. You can see the advertisement on the side of the building, and they have a storage unit there. They pull stuff out of there. Somebody rolls up with a U-Haul, which you see there regularly, and they unload new stuff and start all over.
By new stuff, what do you mean?
Well, so I'm assuming that some of the things get destroyed in the process.
Is this like sleeping bags and tents or something like that?
Sleeping bags, chairs, food, masks. I know that they have body cams, but I'm not sure if they keep them in the encampment, but people donate that frequently. Probably blankets. It's been a while since I can't get close to it anymore. When I would go and block, I could actually observe what they had down there, but I literally don't even feel comfortable being across the street from it at this point because I think I'm going to get attacked. But
Well, and why would you think that, Shelley? Why would that occur to you?
I don't know. Maybe the several physical attacks I've endured since I started doing this. So, they're, it's just full of whatever they need for the day, and people will drop by pizzas for them too, like Domino's.
Is this to the storage unit, or is it just in general when they're encampment, when they're waiting to go out at night, kind of a deal?
To the encampment.
Okay.
And this was told to me back in July, but one of the people at the ICE building said that people were actually sending gas masks using the ICE building address for the people in the encampment. Of course, they said, "Oh, we'll definitely take these," and they just stay with them. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. There. So that happened. And I was after the show Tuesday, after this program, I was kind of looking around, and I said, I am going to have to make an effort to get to Portland again so I can check out what the latest is. And lo and behold, I found a news outfit that had the guts to go out and cover this group in the daytime with lots of people around him. And this is B-roll. I don't think I have any noise on this, but I wanted you to see this. Oh no, here she is.
Back and forth clashes between law enforcement and protesters. There's been some sort of regulation to try to people.
Now I want you to see the over here is ICE, right? And then over here is the school. And then over there is you'll see it in a second. It's the encampment. Behind the encampment is the storage company where ICE has a storage unit, and ICE gets resupplied from who knows where. Now, who's resupplying them? People with money, organizations with money, probably NGOs, probably with the help of the city of Portland. There is their encampment. They keep it there. The city comes in, apparently, according to Honey Badger Mom, once a week around that. So they clean their squats for them, and then they give them a place where they may go fetch their items afterwards. It's a joke, right? It's a joke. So this says it's the storage unit place. And I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. I was online and I saw this and I thought this is exactly what Shelley was talking about. So that's the school. That's where the school was. And then over here is ICE, where it's all boarded up. That previously was covered with graffiti, all kinds of graffiti, talking about, anti-ICE graffiti, talking, potty talk, all kinds of things that Portland just absolutely loves. And there you have it. So I thought that was interesting because that means gives you an idea of what it looks like. That's as close as the news outfits will get to it. The legacy media do not want to have anything to do with this. And indeed, they've been keeping arm's length from Antifa for years. And why is that? It's because the city hopes that they either go away or that's a win-win for them. If Antifa goes away, great, but that's their base. But if the news media go away, then nobody's telling the story except people like Shelley, Honey Badger Mom, and Katie Daviscourt. Big news about Katie Daviscourt. If you saw any television last night, if you watch conservative TV or what have you, you will have seen her last night, but I'll tell you about that coming up because that is a travesty in and of itself. And the Portland Police Bureau is doing nothing to help any of these people who are down there. Now, ordinarily you'd say, well, why would they? They never help anybody else. But you would think that if, for example, someone just hit you with a sign that it might be something you'd want to report to the cops. And guess what? She did. And guess what else? They didn't arrest the person that she was talking about, who she had proof of, the person who had assaulted her with a stick, gave her a shiner. I'm sort of waiting around for our guest to see if he comes quickly, but if not, I can skip over and start that. But I just want you to know that this is travesty. It's just an abject travesty, that the fact that we have this going on the streets of Portland and the city is doing nothing about it. Occasionally in June they would come in, or July they came in and arrested a few people because it was getting nasty, and I'm sure the school complained. And now what happens is the school is out, so school's no longer complaining. Parents aren't complaining anymore. And then the woke people who run the school, or ran the school, they blamed ICE. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. Boy, talk about being it's like you're Stockholm syndrome or something, where the people around there, oh, I don't want to make any waves with the people who might hurt me. Well, of course they might hurt you. These are people who committed an assassination on the streets of Portland in 2020. These are the people who continually assaulted people on the streets who were reporting about ICE in 2016 and in 2018, 2019, and 2020. These people now, Katie and Shelley down there, Honey Badger Mom, they've also been assaulted. And you don't want to know the worst of it. I mean, honestly, the worst of it is the fact that Shelley is being sued. She gave us the first information about that on Tuesday. And so it's very distressing, but that's the game. Because, Antifa, not only do they have money for supplies and such, what they also have is they have money for attorneys. They get free lawyers, right? And so because they get free lawyers, the free lawyers are standing up and giving them law help, legal help. And now she's suing Honey Badger Mom because she sprayed her when she came at Honey Badger Mom with a flag. Now, what I don't know is if it's the same person who hit Katie Davenport on, I think it's Tuesday night. I don't know about that. But now here she is. Here's Katie while we wait for our guest. Here's Katie talking about getting hit and also the proof where she gets hit with the flagpole. Here she's talking to Jack Posobiec.
Affiliated subject just started approaching me and waving the flagpole in my face, and then I kind of turned around, and that's when she swung it like a baseball bat and directly hit my eye. And now,
so she was trying to blind you. She was actually trying to blind you, and a flagpole like that to the ocular socket. I mean, your brain is right there. There's serious, very, very serious injuries that could happen. And look, I'm sitting here in the Charlie Kirk studio. We all know how serious these things can get. And so when I got the report last night that this was going on, and you're out there just doing your job every single night, and God bless you for doing it. Obviously, we need to make sure there's better security out there. But, I got the report in and immediately got on the call with the administration. And I understand that Homeland Security was able to reach out to you.
Yes, I talked to them. They're so kind, and they're actually going to be letting some journalists into the facility. So hopefully that'll give me a little bit more sense of safety. But as you can see, I've been covering Portland since June 7th, and it has been completely taken over by anarchist, Antifa-affiliated domestic terrorists now, and police refuse to come in. And what we saw was Police Chief Day said that the National Guard is not needed, the Trump administration does not need to come in. But then when I go and hunt down the suspect who assaulted me, police officers are standing there, refuse to help me. And then when police finally show up, they say, oh, we can't go in because it is too dangerous. So is Chief Day lying to the American people,
Yes, he
saying
is.
that the agency has everything under control? Oh, but the officers are telling me that it's actually too dangerous for them to go in. And it went from being, a war zone to Chief Day saying, oh, well, it's only a 1-block radius. It's actually about a 4-block radius because police refuse to go in anywhere near ICE. So it is every man for themselves in this zone. And the feds can only protect the federal building, federal property. So anyone who shows up is completely on their own. If violence happens to them, don't expect any help.
Right. That's right. Don't expect any help. That's precisely right. And so you go there at your own risk because the cops certainly aren't going to help you, right? Cops aren't going to help you. And here's the thing. They hit her with a flagpole. This is the same thing that Antifa hit Mike Strickland with in 2016. They surrounded him with flagpoles, people with flagpoles, and they began hitting him inside a big scrum. And then Strickland backs out. I guess I'm gonna have to show everybody this stuff because I think it's more interesting if you can see it. But they had a big scrum, and then he got out. He backed away out of the crowd on a public street, by the way, for which they had no permit for this rally protest. Zero. They had nada. And one of the guys wielding sticks around that time was this guy. It was this guy, okay. And this guy was out in front of the area where Antifa has taken over this time around. And he was out in front in 2016. I'm going to find I don't know if anybody I call them GIFs. I've always called them GIFs. But apparently they're now called GIFs. But I'm going to still call them a GIF, okay? Is that okay with everybody? Let me make sure, because this is the same guy back in 2016. Let me think. I got to find it. Hold on here. Antifa takes over school. Where is that? Hold on. I'm going to make sure I find it. This is one of those, it's not going to, maybe it won't show back up in the, okay, well, anyway, it's the same guy in 2016, 2017, 2018. He's like a union dude. And he was showing, this is what he was doing with his stick. He was holding it up in the little parade or protest they had, and he looked at his friend and he goes, like that. I got a video of him doing that. Actually, Mike Strickland did, and I got it from Mike. So this is an old trick using these flags to beat people up. It's an old labor trick where they had, I'm on strike. I have a picket sign here. And then on the other side would be nails. Okay. So this is the same old thing. By the way, these are all the same people. So there's that. And so I believe that this is very important. We need to call them out on it. We need to say, hey, we've seen this movie before. And the other galling thing about this case that happened to Katie the other night, so she was just talking to Jack Posobiec. Here is her, I'm going to make sure I get I want to show you the video, forgive me. I want to show you the video of her getting beaten up. Here's the attack. Okay, here we go. Unless that's the other. Is that the standby here? Nah. Here she is. She's watching. She's chasing the woman who attacked her. And she's got 3 police around, and they will do nothing. See, there she is.
Going into the Antifa safe house.
Yep. Sorry about the language, everybody.
What's wrong with you? Why are you stalking this person?
She assaulted me.
She assaulted you? Do you have proof of that?
Yeah, my black eye.
Your black guy? You didn't just.
You don't have a black eye. I don't see
get
it.
hit by your boyfriend.
Okay, she is more and more and more. It's gonna get nasty. She points it out. She points out the woman, and then you always have these people that surround the reporters. Look at this guy. He's got a stick in his hand. This guy's trying to prevent her from being able to videotape any more information about the Antifa people. There's a furry guy, or some guy. He's probably an attorney. Here, this looks. Is this a cop right here? No. And I didn't realize what had happened until because I was busy all day yesterday. I was writing all day, and which I thought was kind of fun. I came across this item in my email. See, they're also flashing her so she can't use any of the video she's just taken. So she's looking. So she's talking to the cops. She's got 3 cops there. Eventually, there's the furry. There's that guy. Everybody's got some sort of weapon on him. So she is very likely going to get assaulted, as she just has. And of course, she's got a shiner. We saw the shiner on Jesse Waters on Fox News last night, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to show you the situation about, make sure I find it. I want to show you the, I was going to show you the press release. And what they did was the cops did this. They, I'm going to try to, where I'm to find this in my, hey, Alex, I've got so much stuff up here. I can't tell. I'll show you the picture of the woman. There she is. And she's got on her nose, see, she's got that covered now. And she's got a ring in her nose. And we know that because we saw her. In fact, the police saw her. And have they arrested her yet? No, can't do that. And so I got to find the video of her getting whacked. Well, in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll show you this interview that she had with Jesse Waters last night on Fox News.
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, I definitely have a black eye. So that's what it's been like covering Portland for the past 4 months. Complete lawlessness.
Wow. They say it's just one city block. Is that even true?
That's not true. So it went from being a war zone to one city block, but it's actually several blocks where that is completely controlled by Antifa affiliated protesters who harass, assault, and threaten anyone who they perceive to be a threat to their cause, including journalists, local residents, and ICE agents. And the Trump administration is absolutely correct in deploying federal troops here because Portland police has completely abandoned this zone. They refuse to go in, and everyone that shows up is on their own.
So it's kind of like Chaz or CHOP was in Seattle. They just, I guess, secede this territory, cede it to Antifa, and they just let everything play out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So last night I got assaulted and I immediately ran to a Portland police officer, hunted down the suspect, chased her through the streets and said, "This is my assault suspect. Can you guys finally do something?" And I had eyes on her for about 35 minutes. Portland police refused to come in and make an arrest. And I had 3 officers just standing there watching me try to hunt down this suspect. And imagine my anger when I go online after doing all of that about an hour ago. And I see Portland police put out a bolo asking for the public's help in identifying my assault suspect. So that is what it's like on the ground here in Portland. And it's time for a federal crackdown. The Trump administration needs to start treating Antifa like ISIS, the terrorists that they are, and put an end to them here for good.
All right. So Portland police say they're investigating. I guess you had spoken to a dialogue officer. I don't even know what that means, but he did nothing. So I don't even know what he's there for. Does it kind of feel like Portland officials, I can't believe I'm even saying this, but have formed some sort of alliance with Antifa?
Yes, go ahead. Say it. Of course.
Oh, absolutely. I would consider them Antifa at this point. Why not? So their whole agenda is to get ICE out of Portland. So they're trying to shield the public from what's going on down on the ground. But I have 4 months worth of video footage showing warlike scenes happening here. None of that footage is from 2020. But then you have Portland Police Chief Bob Day saying, oh, the videos that you guys are seeing are from 5 years ago. They're absolutely not. We have the evidence to back it up. And how dare he do that? I'm a journalist. I don't really say this often, but Portland Police Chief Bob Day, you need to resign. You need to resign immediately and now.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad call. I think that's not a bad call at all. Now, let's go over and find the press release, because I got this press release. So this is the thing I first got. I saw this yesterday. And so, can you ID me? First of all, I get, on their email list. So I get this in my email, and it says, can you ID me? Well, it's obviously, here's the nose ring. Mm-hmm. And, she's black blocked out, their uniform. And here's what the thing says. Tuesday, September 30th at 8:41, a dialogue liaison officer, a DLO, was monitoring a gathering outside of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in South Portland when he was flagged down by a person reporting that an assault had just taken place at South Moody Avenue in South Bancroft. And I said to myself, oh, that's interesting. Golly, Portland's actually on the case on that? And then I realized, okay, so I'm going to keep reading because I want to find out who they assaulted and who these people are. Do you think I can find that out? Oh, no. There's no name in here. The name of the Vic and the name of the perp not in there. And so the way in which they presaged this message was, a dialogue officer is the only one following up on this case, or some words to that effect. I've never even seen those words put into use in any of the previous Portland Police Bureau press releases I'd ever seen. There was no name of the victim, no name of the perp, nothing. And so they here she is again. And here she is again. So they've seen her, they have video of her, they have photos of her, and then they just cannot find her. Oh my goodness, they cannot find that woman. Well, why is that? Because they're not looking for her. You know why? Because they didn't follow Katie. Katie had eyes on that woman for 30 minutes, she said. So this is, here we go again. You are not safe. They don't want you to be safe. They don't want you to cover Antifa just as much as Antifa doesn't want you to cover Antifa. No snitching, everybody. And it is galling that the city puts up with this. Oh, it's only a city block. That's not that big of a deal. Martha, are you listening to yourself? Come on. So here she is. I'm going to add that photo. There she is. No cops, no fascists, KKK, no fascists. Hey, blah, blah. See, I told you they take oaths. That's what they do. That's all they've got. Here is Bob Day in his full comments.
Misconception since this news broke that you're like, oh, I just wish people understood this.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, and it's been highlighted so many times so well, but I just want to emphasize, this is one city block. City of Portland's about 145 square miles. This is one city block. And even the events that are happening down there do not rise to the level of attention that they are receiving. We are seeing this.
Can I just stop there for a moment? One city block. First of all, first thing, lame question by the media. Is there any misunderstanding about what's going on here in South Waterfront in Portland, Oregon, where Antifa has taken over one city block? And then, of course, we find out it's not just one city block. Katie says it's 4. Why do I have to disbelieve her? I'll take her word for it. These guys are lying. They said, oh, there's nothing. There's no war zone in Portland. President Trump said there was a war zone in Portland, and he means this area. That's what he means. And he knows, here's the thing, and we've talked about it before. He knows exactly what will happen if he doesn't stop it now. Should have been stopped 4 months ago when they did this, but now he's going to stop it because it's getting worse, because his ICE agents are getting fired at. And you've got people willing to harm them, and indeed already have harmed them. Here we had a guy picked up Portland man charged with assaulting federal officer, law enforcement officer near the local ICE office. Let me bring it up for you. September 29th. Portland man made his first appearance in federal court today after assaulting a federal officer near a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE office in South Portland. Now, they're getting serious about this. They picked him up. They let him go on his own recog. Don't know why, but I'll tell you one thing. His name is, let me just make sure you know his name, Thomas Plancart-Benson. He's 37 years old and is old enough to know better than to hit an ICE officer. They were agitators blocking the driveway. Federal officials gave repeated verbal commands to clear the driveway, and because they do this at shift change every single time. And rather than move when directed, Plancart-Benson shoved a federal officer and retreated into the crowd. The federal officers subsequently found Plancart-Benson near the ICE facility and arrested him for assaulting a federal officer. Now, I want you to look down here. This is where my cursor is going to go. Felony assault of a federal officer is punishable by up to 8 years in federal prison. 8 years. And, it doesn't work if you don't prosecute him. He's either going to do a bonk or he's going to show up. He's going to get his lawyering up. They have free lawyers for those guys, right? Anybody at the Lawyers Guild with, the green hats and green vests, the commies that work for the Lawyers Guild, do any of those guys work federal court? Probably a few. They'll work for free. They get everything for free. Antifa, they get everything for free. They are having pizzas sent to their storage unit supply center next to their squat, which is now on the property of the school that was chased out of the neighborhood. That's not freedom. That is takeover. And if there are 4 blocks of it where you can't walk, there's a no-go zone. That's not freedom. That's a takeover, and you are forbidden from walking there because you might get yourself killed. I'm not overstating it. They're there. You go back and you want to walk next to them or something and say, "Hey, get out of here, you guys! You're terrible. Why are you hitting ICE officers? Why are you assaulting ICE officers?" And they're likely to assault you. Or if you're taking a picture of them, remember, let me find that photo. See if I can find it from Tuesday, because we got a lot of attention on that video, that we did on Tuesday. Check this out. Just a second. I got to make sure I get it up. This is what they do to reporters. They've been doing this. I think this was before, maybe, no, this is after Andy Ngo started hanging out at Portland State University. He was a student there, and he started doing this mostly full time. So what is that, 2017, 2018? Don't snitch ever. And they make the media go by their rules. Put down your phones. Don't post anything to social media. You can't do that. It is, you're going to get hurt. You've been warned. And that's why the media don't take care. In fact, this is really another galling thing. So, very talented photographer who actually witnessed Mike Strickland being attacked by Antifa with their flagpoles, like they did with Katie Daviscourt, and which Honey Badger mom knew she was going to get whacked by whoever was wielding the flagpole in her direction, so she pepper sprayed them, and now that person's suing her. So 8 years. Hope somebody goes to the slammer for 8 years. They've arrested something on the order of 27 people, I believe, at the ICE headquarters. The local cops, the Portland Police Bureau, have arrested, and then, of course, they just released them. And now they have a new DA in Portland, and that person has been a lot tougher, if you will, on a sliding scale, with the local commies who are breaking things, hurting people, starting fires, but they still aren't getting the same kind of response that I believe they should. These people should be brought to heel. And by that, I mean they need to go to jail. Because you cannot have people in an area of town that do not allow American citizens to walk by, to be able to do their whatever they damn well please. They should be able to do whatever they damn well please. And you know what? When you have one of these zones with these crazy people, you can't, because you might get hurt. Now, remember, I just want to remind you of how this works. And you saw those people come after Katie. They were pointing to her, and all of a sudden they converge on her. They converged on Mike Strickland too. And he pulled a gun. Eventually, he pulled a gun and backed him off. It worked, but he got put in jail for it. That's why very few people will do that in Portland, because they all know Strickland. They all know what happened to him. And so this lady, I just want you to know, not mainline Portlanders, they can't do this. They can't, because these guys will follow them. They will know where they live. They will dox them. They will bring harm to them. That's the plan. That's how they do this. It's wrong. It is anti-civilized world, but that's the way they do it. And you know what? It's illegal. It is illegal. Oh, well, I'm just here, doing my own First Amendment thing. No, you're not. You're making it tough for people to get around. They're making it difficult for people to get around. You're blocking streets, blocking sidewalks.
Like every night, I'm destroying and wrecking your. Turn it down. We the people need sleep.
Yeah, we the people need sleep. And there was a lot more she said. And as she's walking away to this low-income housing project that's over here. And that's where she lives, and that's where a lot of other people live who cannot get a decent night's sleep because these yahoos are up until 3 o'clock in the morning with their bullhorns, their noisemakers, their munitions, their fireworks, and all sorts of other things. And then they go to the house where they're allowed to use it as a flop house. It is a safe house. And then they're also allowed by the city to sleep in an encampment on the property of the school that used to be there. Now, there's something wrong with that. You have your priorities out of whack. The city is not doing what it should be. Obviously, they are not doing what they should be doing, which is to protect citizens. As I said at the top of the program, what is their number one job in any strata of government? Public safety. That's what it is. You have a government because they are able to use the assets that you have given them through your tax dollars to keep you safer. And what do they do with them? They give succor and aid to Antifa. Now, there's something else that's quite galling, and it's Councilwoman Angelita Murillo. And she's, and I get why I have a Faraday bag. I give out Faraday bags to family members. I get it. But thing is, this is a woman who's a Democratic Socialist, because they have ranked choice voting in Portland now for the city council. So the winner of the contest isn't the winner. It's whoever gets more points at a given. It's sort of like this. Woo! It's my definition of ranked choice voting. So anyway, she was on Facebook. I don't know what she's doing on Facebook. Her people are all probably on Signal or something. But here she is talking about all the tips that she has for her constituents who want to go out and commit violence at the ICE headquarters.
Give you my legal analysis as a city councilor of the risks and benefits of different actions at federal buildings, but I trust your judgment, and you need to decide what risks you are willing to take for yourself and for your community as a whole, because all of this is impacting us collectively. We know that there are more ICE agents on the ground now, and that federal surveillance is at an all-time high. So here are some ways that you can protect yourself while organizing for your community. Local journalists like Kevin Foster, who are on the ground at the ICE building, have captured video footage showing that there are unidentified black helicopters flying over the ICE building.
Oh, let me just. I recognize that I did not finish a point I wanted to make in just a couple of minutes ago with respect to the media and how the legacy media don't follow up on any of these stories because they're harder to tell. They're, it's, I don't know why they don't do it. Okay. It's dangerous. They probably know some of the people. I mean, all sorts of reasons. But I was telling you about one of the videographers who worked for Channel 8 at the time, and he had gotten some footage of Mike Strickland back in 2016. And you know what he's doing now? He works for the cop shop. And he posted a photo online the other day in his role as a city employee and mocked the people who are out in that section of town every night watching the disaster unfolding that will quickly metastasize into bigger riots. And of course, all those people in that area are less safe as a result. So I wanted you to know that. I mean, that's how native they are in the city of Portland. So that guy that posted that used to work for the news, and he's an excellent videographer. And he's straight arrow. And so this was just, are you kidding, Mike? Are you kidding me? Anyway, here's the nut.
And we suspect that they were using that to gather data on people. There are facial recognition technology devices used at most federal buildings, and most people think that they can beat that by covering their faces. But if you just cover the lower half, guess what? You have left your eyes and eyebrows, which are the most identifiable part of you. Even if you do cover your face successfully, some technology can also track your gait and the way that you walk in order to create a pattern that's just identifiable to you, just like a fingerprint. And guess
this is a city council lady trying to help Antifa. I just want you to appreciate that for just a moment.
Guess what? Your phone, you should consider this a tracker and a listening device at all times. With your phone, they can track your location. They can see who you met with. If you happen to organize with a bunch of different people and you all took the bus to the same secure location, guess what? They have a pattern of who you organize with and who you talk to and how long and why. So you should get a Faraday cage which blocks the signal from your phone. You should disable fingerprint and facial recognition technology to unlock your phone. And you should have a PIN that is longer than 4 numbers. If you're going to regularly protest, I also highly recommend.
Okay, now a lot of right-wing people, are down with this, the whole thing. I mean, they in fact, a lot of people do it. They have Faraday bags and they try not to use their. I mean, I suppose if you're going to go out and you're going to plan something and you're going to break the law, you shouldn't have your iPhone or any of your phones on you at all. She also includes, hey, go buy a burner phone with cash. I mean, I've been meaning to do that myself. I need burner phones just in case. Who knows if the government will come back after me at some point in time. I mean, they've never come after me before, but after January 6th people and the planned people in the crowd instigating a lot of stuff, the MRC was doing that. There was the Metropolitan Police Bureau. There was the 274 FBI agents. There were the 20 or so FBI agents. They're all our informants and oath keepers and Proud Boys. They were informants for the FBI. And it was like, they thought they were helping keep them. I mean, you cannot even imagine. And what they did was they just rolled them all up. Just rolled them all up. So you can well understand why people of my political persuasion might be interested in having a Faraday bag and a cage of some sort to put all electronics in and that sort of thing. And so, but it's just I didn't have the president telling me how to do that, or there wasn't somebody, look, governor of some state saying, hey, right wingers, listen, because they would have probably been prosecuted. So. Unbelievable and very, very bad form. The Portland Police Bureau, as I showed you, put out the press release about Katie Davis-Gort's assault, but they never mentioned her. And when I got that in the mail, as I previously mentioned, I thought something was up. I said, what? This is so extraordinary. First of all, they never just sort of automatically, usually wait to do this. Then they will usually give you an idea of somebody's name. Like, for example, Davis-Gort's out there saying, hey, she hit me. She gave me a black eye. She hit me with a flagpole. what are you guys doing about it? And they basically said with their actions, nothing. We're not going to do anything about it. And they could have used her name. They just chose not to do it. Why is that? Because they want to keep this as low pro as possible. As low pro as possible. So anyway, what else do I have? I want to make sure I get all the stuff that I had to bring to you today. Out there. Check this out. See that guy? See that guy? He's this guy. Same guy. It's pretty amazing. Years after years after years after years. Same people. Same people. Years. There they go. Alex is shaking his head. Yeah, of course. Surrounding them. Now on that lady, the woman who said that we the people have a right to sleep. Of course they did. They have a right to sleep. But the interesting thing about that was that she was followed back to her apartment by a bunch of people who looked like they were a part of the Star Wars bar scene, a collection of people who looked like they'd just gotten out of prison, people who were high, people who were strapped, I guess, I assume so, most of them are, people who were not engaging her in dialogue much. You know, there's this part of Antifa, people who attempt to engage someone in conversation so that they can de-escalate. They think they're de-escalating when all they're doing is pissing people off. The people who are upset with Antifa, who want them to go away, and they go, now let's talk about this for a moment. No, we're done talking, sister. We are done. So they surround her six. They are following her in a semicircle on the way back to her apartment. And that's what happened to Katie. She was surrounded. That's what happened to Mike Strickland. Surrounded. Now, where do you suppose they're getting these tactics? They learn these tactics. They have schools, if you will, training camps to go get these tactics. That's right, they do. So they get money from, well, George Soros, we know, gives money to the Stop Cop City people. Those are Antifa. And so George Soros gave money to Stop Cop City. Some Portland Antifa went to that protest and broke all kinds of laws and were arrested, and they're going to go to federal prison if they're not there already. And so Soros's money through his NGOs, giving money to other groups, they have a network of groups, they know where they're going, and they intentionally gave money for violent purposes on the streets. He's all about undermining the rule of law. That's why he has the DA project. That's why he had the Secretary of State project, where he'd get all his people in so that there would be more liberal laws, and by liberal I mean no laws practically, governing, if you will, the way to vote, who votes, who counts the votes. It's why there was a huge proliferation of mail-in balloting. This is all about reducing the ability to still retain control as an individual over yourself and your government. And he doesn't like that. He's a communist. He likes top-down stuff. You know what's so funny? He hates that stuff. So he did the DA project, he did the SOS project, and he did the Attorney General project to get people in. Did I mention the DA? Yeah, I did. That was the first thing I mentioned. So all of these things he has done in order to shake down, to reduce, hurt, undermine the rule of law in the United States. And that's why he did Stop Cop City. That's why he helps Antifa. Stop Cop City was Antifa. That's why he helps these groups. That's why the city doesn't do anything to stop these guys. I think that they have an agreement. I mean, for example, the governor of Oregon employs as a top aide a woman who was an Antifa radical protester who hurt cops in 2020. After that, after she got arrested and they went, Mike Schmidt, a Soros DA, let her go, la, 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 la. And she got picked up by her old boss, Tina Kotek, the unfortunately named Tina Kotek, who, as governor, put her in a top job in Salem. They cover for Antifa. These guys are their shock troops. They have rapport. I'm sure that there have been in fact, I remember back in the old days, this is when I was working on the radio ball, this is really old in this case, but because I spent like 20 years there. But Vera Katzen, the old mayor, she had one of the Portland 7 terrorists, jihadis with Al-Qaeda working for her. I mean, this has been going on for quite some time. There is a mosque in Portland that produced, was it 9 Al-Qaeda terrorists? 7 to 9. One mosque in Southwest Portland. So, look, domestic terrorism is nothing new to be. I don't want to oversell this, but they are used to having around them radicals. And it's really sort of well, so what if he's in Al-Qaeda? I didn't know at the time. You should have known. You should have known he was a radical, but no, I couldn't do that. He was black, and I couldn't say that because no, he's Antifa, and he's a furry, and I have to make accommodations for those people, and all of these things. And they're using your money. They are playing with house money, hiring these people. And then what do? When they get pushback from their employees who consort with these people, all of a sudden, you can't go in there. The people who report on these people are really bad. We can't have that. Antifa's only a block. President Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. This is no big deal. It's not a war zone. It isn't there in that area. It's really what counts. Oh, it's only a block. If it's such a small area, then why haven't you stopped them? Why haven't you prevented them from attacking ICE agents? Why haven't you stopped it? Why haven't you stopped the obvious illegal activity? They are not exercising their First Amendment rights. They are depriving other people of theirs. That's what's going on. You have time, place, and manner restrictions. You can enforce laws over which you can convey those laws and enforce them on people who are being dangerous, who deprive other people, call on their kindred to come in and attack someone. That's not protected free speech. I'm sorry to break it to you, you very brainiac people sitting on the Portland City Council. How many thousands of them are on the City Council now? What is it? Why don't we just call it the Politburo? Portland's Politburo. I'm going to call it that. And all of my left coast, west coast, left coast, West Coast columns for PJ Media, I'm just going to call it the Portland Politburo. Because that's what it is. I get disgusted because I've seen this for so many years, and I think, when are these people going to learn? When is somebody going to stand up and say, no, we're not going to have unrest in our city. We're not going to have areas of our city that are no-go zones, that are Antifa no-go zones. Do you realize I told you about this in 2021, armed Antifa guards prevented Portlanders from driving on the street in a northeast neighborhood at gunpoint. At gunpoint. They've had these no-go zones before. This is nothing but a disaster in the making. And Portlanders should force their government to stop it. Job one. Job one is public safety. And look what they've done. They've allowed this to fester and then blame you when you complain. Okay, till Tuesday. It'll be another edition of the Adults in the Room podcast. Hope you enjoyed this live stream. More and more of you are joining all the time. Antifa's really upset with me now, of course, actually, because I keep saying the parts out loud that other people are too afraid to say. See you then. Remember, head up, heart out, and strive to be the adult in the room. You can do it. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Adult in the Room podcast. We do not take you for granted. We appreciate every single person who tunes in every week to listen and watch this program. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday, live streaming on Rumble, and then on every other podcast platform shortly thereafter when we can port it over and get it over there as soon as we can. All the shows can be found at victoriataft.com, where the censorship regime has been banned by me. Follow me on social media at these names: Victoria Taft, the Adult in the Room podcast, and the Victoria Taft Show. Send media inquiries, or any others for that matter, to victoria@victoriataft.com. And here's a big ask. Would you please subscribe, share, like, comment, recommend, and give this program a 5-star rating where you can? We really appreciate it. We do not take that for granted either. Follow my work at, you guessed it, victoriataft.com. PJ Media, I write tons over there. Flamingo Audiobooks, and of course the radio. I don't do this alone. This show is produced and engineered by Overall Media. 1A Cast is responsible for some of the Adult in the Room podcast's imaging. Logo design by Hageman Creative. The Adult in the Room podcast is produced at Flamingo Road Studios. All rights reserved.